We're doing it, man. We're doing it. GM, as they say in the Web3 crypto streets, which stands for good morning, if you didn't know. I've been thinking to myself for a while that I wanted to tell the story, the origin story of some of my Web3 success, of launching Cool Cats, a globally known, recognized, internationally recognized IP worth millions of dollars, which is great and awesome. And it's been a journey, but I never knew how to really get into it or how to even begin telling the story, because there's a lot of layers to it. There's a lot of levels to it. But upon just marinating, I realized there's no right way to start. You just got to go for it. So this is episode 1 of ELU Yaps. If you don't know me, nice to meet you. My name's Evan Luza. I go by ELU on the internet streets. Also, it's my rap alias, but that's a story for another time. If you do know me, good to see you. Good to be seen. I went to design school. I'm an artist. I started doing T-shirt designs many moons ago on Threadless to submit designs to their T-shirt competitions, and that's what sort of sharpened my teeth as becoming a designer and wanting to go to art school. And art school is where I eventually met my co-founder, partner in crime, Klon, and he's the illustrator and the creator of Blue Cat, which is what the Cool Cats collection is derived from. But the way that it happened was totally just following my gut, following our guts, taking risks, taking chances. There was no real direction or no real big picture of a North Star that we were aiming for. It was just sort of a post-college experiment of me with a good friend of mine making art and trying to make it into a brand, and then meeting with some Twitter folks to help us make it happen. And what started as a weekend project turned into a multi-million-dollar, globally known IP. Last year we had a float in the Macy's Day Parade. We've got toys. We've got a animated series on YouTube. A whole bunch of really cool stuff. And I think it's interesting to tell the story of how we got there and what the inception of that was. And I think doing this sort of medium form breakdown content will be helpful to me to formalize and just get the structure of how things materialized, and also maybe inspiring and helpful to others. So I think the takeaway, or the primary overtone of this whole thing is that luck, they say, is when preparation meets opportunity. You can make your own luck, but in order to make your own luck, you got to be prepared. And what that means is, I think the folks that I know who have made a successful brand or an app or an IP or anything like that, they just sort of went for it unwaveringly with conviction in themselves because they were passionate about what they were doing, not because they thought there was this market opportunity for something. You also can do that, but for the sake of the cats, I was just getting into the blockchain space and familiarizing myself with crypto. You know, it can be a bit confusing. Bitcoin and Ethereum, blah, 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 blah. It goes deep real quick, and it's not particularly an inviting space to an unfamiliar eye. So I delved into crypto, and I saw NFTs happen, and I saw Bored Apes mint, and my gears started whirring and spinning, and I was thinking, this reminds me a lot like Pokemon, like digital collectibles, you know, like I collected Pokemon back in the day. I played them. I think humans are also innately collectors, you know, rocks, stamps, Beanie Babies, Labubu's, whatever you want to call it. Humans just collect things. So I was wanting to launch an NFT collection at the time called Sushi Pets, which was I commissioned a pixel artist to make these really cool pixel kawaii cute collectible characters that I then worked with my 3D render friend to make these cool cards, and that never really materialized. We had that was the attempt to bring that on chain, to mint that out. And I got my partner in crime, my buddy old pal Klon, with me. I started onboarding him and explaining to him, this is crypto, this is Web3. People buy these digital collectibles. People like collecting art. There's a demand for art here, and I asked him for help for doing motion graphics, because at the time he was doing freelance motion graphic stuff, and he was just sort of finding his footing and his way, living in LA doing like freelance art stuff. So I brought him on, and I was explaining Sushi Pets to him and the market opportunity of like, I think we can both put our minds together here and drop this collection. It'll be fun. It'll be a fun experiment. And then, you make plans and the universe says, never mind. So we're working with a Solidity developer, which is a fancy way of saying someone who knows how to launch things on Ethereum. So we had the design stuff sorted out, but we didn't know how to package it up and present it to the masses, because we're not tech dudes like that. So the developer that we were working with ended up getting caught up with school or something like that. He was a young kid and he just didn't have the bandwidth for it. So he backed out of the project, and then it was just me and Klon, and we're just back at the drawing board of like, man, we spent all this time researching and planning and ideating and spending time doing branding and animations around launching this Sushi Pet collection of these cool kawaii collectible 3D cards. And it was a bit demoralizing because we put a lot of effort in it, and we put some blood, sweat, and tears, and it's a cool project. It could have been, but that didn't materialize. So we're back at the drawing board. And then, as chance may have it, we're scrolling through Twitter at the time, and or now X, and I think we saw someone else, our other two co-founders, who we didn't know them at the time. They were just anonymous internet strangers. They were launching their own project that was this pixelated unicorns, and we reached out to them and said, hey, could you help us drop our thing, Sushi Pets? And they said, okay, it was cool, but they wanted to do like a net new thing, like something we could all have like equal stake in, because Sushi Pets was effectively 90% there, and we just needed 10% help getting it over the finish line of making it a mintable NFT collection. So they said, hey, why don't we do something net new? And we're like, okay, we can deal with that. We at least have a couple of guys who can help us with the tech side of things now. So we're thinking, and Klon, he had been drawing Blue Cat for many years, since he was probably even middle school, but definitely high school and through college. And he even went by the Cartoonist. It's like the cartoonist, but the Cartoonist. And we had the epiphany. It could have been his idea or mine. I don't remember. Maybe it was his idea. And we thought, why don't we put Blue Cat on the blockchain? And we're like, well, that's an interesting idea. So he ended up coming up with all these different attributes and traits. So all these cats look different, but they look cohesive in the collection as a whole. So me and him, and we worked with these other two guys we found off Twitter. We jammed for a couple weeks. We got the website going, the branding. We got the story right. Got our marketing in order. Got the Discord. Got the Twitter. And then we said, let's just try to sell these things. I think we sold them at like $20 a pop at the time, I think. And we opened the gates. It was mint day. We didn't, some people, maybe 50 to 100, a couple hundred people bought one, and it was really cool. But I think because we brought a really authentic character to people, packaged in such a way that it was like undeniably cute and relatable, sort of how when you see Hello Kitty for the first time, even if you have no context with what Hello Kitty means or represents, it makes you feel something. It's evocative. So I think we captured some of that same essence with the cats. And next thing we knew, we minted out. We blink. Mike Tyson buys one. Reese Witherspoon buys one. Alexis Ohanian buys one. He's the creator, co-founder of Reddit. And we're explosive. We're explosive. We're hiring people. Fast forward, we got a flow in the Macy's Day Parade, all this stuff. And it's been ups and downs and tips and turns. The floor price of a cool cat, which is like the cheapest you can get one right now, is maybe $700, $800, which is really cool to say. But at their peak, there were like tens of thousands. So there was also a struggle in that, retrospectively thinking, man, some people paid a lot of money for a picture of this cat, and then the price went down. Does that make me a failure? Does that mean we failed? But it took a lot of sort of psychological reflection and sitting in that. What started as this weekend project with me and my friend and 2 internet strangers that formalized as to 4 co-founders into this company that grew bigger than any of us anticipated. But all that goes to say is that the whole inception of bringing the brand to life is derived from just going for it. Just believing in yourself sounds a little bit corny. Believe in yourself, but it's true. It's true. You just got to go for it. I think me as a creator and as an artist myself, and as a design guy, as a brand guy, I dabble in a lot of things, and I think there's an artist fallacy of getting in your own way sometimes, of like you don't know how something's going to resonate, or you don't know what people might think of it, so that apprehension inhibits you from doing it in the first place. But I think where the magic happens is just going for it. When we decided to put Blue Cat as an NFT collection, it was for us. We just wanted to. We're just thinking, what if we just made a bunch of these and they were collectibles, and what do people gravitate towards? What type of traits do people like? The sunglasses versus the handkerchief versus the whatever. And it was for us, it was something that was derived from a authentic place. It wasn't an opportunistic thing, which unfortunately the Web3 space and crypto space as a whole is riddled with a lot of opportunists, people who come to make easy money or tell stories to try to convince people that it's a good investment and blah 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 blah. And that's neither here nor there. But really, I see a lot of my friends or people I meet like, oh my God, you did Cool Cats. That's incredible. And for a while, I felt like defeat or even failure from it in some ways, because other projects come along and do better than you, or have farther reach than you, or grow quicker than you, or something like that. And it's easy to, for me at least, to get in my own way and have this negative self-talk demon that's like, you could have done this better, you didn't do this enough. But at the end of the day, I think the luck that we found was because we were prepared for the opportunity, which was just being in the right place in the right time with the Web3 crypto space. So, yeah, I think even still, I consider myself a generalist, but I have a specialization in some things like branding and storytelling, and making apps and things like that. And I think the important part of making anything is making sure your heart is in it in the first place. I think if you make something for someone else, that authenticity is void. It's devoid of authenticity. I think if you do something that brings you joy and sparks something in you, then there's a good chance it'll probably spark something in somebody else. So that's how that goes. And it's been a process, it's been a process. I have as much of a success as Cool Cats has been, it's come with a lot of like tumultuous, high intensity decision making of business, and growing too fast, and accepting investments from someone or not accepting, or just a lot. It's a lot. But I wouldn't have had it any other way, honestly. I wouldn't have had it any other way. I think it's important just to lean into whatever it is that you're making. And as a creator and entrepreneur like myself, the intention of making these videos is sort of to be like a reminder to myself, and a sort of visual journal that I can look back on and maybe inspire some other folks to want to just go for it, Because if you keep your ideas and your creations to yourself, you could also argue that that's selfish in some ways. And I think the artist's mind struggles a lot of times with just sharing their thing. Maybe everyone hates it, whatever, but you'll never know if everyone hates it unless you share. So yeah. See you next time.